Welcome to a new video. Today, I'm going to summarize the drama and romantic movie called Malena. In times of war in Italy, a very imaginative 12-year-old boy named Renato buys his first bike with the help of his father. When he finally has it, he pedals fast until he reaches a group of boys. Renato asks to join their group, and as the main requirement was to have a bike, the other boys accept. At that moment, one of the boys says, "God," and Renato, confused, waits with them. They see Malena leave her house, a married woman who is highly sought after by men for her immense beauty. When the woman passes in front of them, all the boys see her, but Renato is in shock because he is seeing her for the first time. After that, the boys take their bikes and leave. Renato asks one of the boys who that woman is and is told that she is the daughter of a Latin teacher and the wife of a man who is fighting in Africa. They arrive at a place to be able to see her again, and again they drool over Malena's beauty. The next day Renato decides not to go to school and instead goes to Malena's house, hoping to see her. Malena goes outside and asks him to bring her cigarettes. When he approaches, she throws him some coins, and Renato picks them up. Although all this was just his imagination, that night Renato escapes through the window of his house and decides to go to Malena's house to climb her tree. Then, he observes Malena through an opening and sees her walking through the house. He also manages to catch a glimpse of her photo with her husband in the background. The next day he goes to spy on her again and finds Malena with a letter from her husband. At night, he returns again, and this time, he finds Malena in a short, thin dress, listening to music and dancing with a photo of her husband. At one point, Malena enters the bedroom, and through the shadows, Renato sees her undress. At night, Renato sees Malena go to her room, and then Renato begins to undress her, although again, this was just in his imagination. The next day they continue with their daily routine of seeing Malena on the street, but this time, Renato follows her and sees her enter an unknown house. Renato thinks she has a lover and is disappointed because he thought she was a decent woman. Renato follows Malena again on her journey, although he realizes that people speak ill of her for the simple fact of being pretty. Malena arrives at her destination, and this time, Renato looks out onto the balcony to see what she is doing. But he realizes that, in reality, she does not have a lover, but that she was visiting her father. Once Renato arrives at his house, he begins to indulge himself while imagining romantic scenes with Malena. But the creaking of the bed makes his father yell at him, telling him to stop once and for all, or he will go blind. A few days later, they say goodbye to Malena's husband, who died in a battle in Africa, leaving her widowed and desolate. Renato goes up to his balcony and sees her fall in her loss. At that moment, Renato begins to imagine that he comes and consoles her, telling her that he will always be with her and asking her for time so that she can mature. Now, Renato realizes that people speak ill of Malena more than ever. But it is Renato who retaliates for her bad comments about her. Even Renato breaks the glass of a store whose owner said rude things about Malena. Angry, he goes to Malena's house, where she has her clothes hanging, and takes the opportunity to steal her underwear. When he returns home, he begins to give himself whims like a madman. The next day his father enters his room and sees him in his underwear. He scolds him, hits him for his fetish perversion, and punishes him, telling him that he will not leave his room again. When he returns to school, the teacher receives a letter in which he is informed that his daughter has had an affair with a married man and will be sentenced. The teacher leaves, and Renato goes to spy on Malena at night, but discovers that she is not alone and that she even seems to have an affair with a lieutenant. But when the lieutenant leaves the town, the dentist appears and scolds him for going after his fiancée. They begin to argue until the police arrive and arrest them. The next day Malena begins to be on everyone's lips in town, since everyone calls her AS because she supposedly has 2 lovers, and one of them is married. Renato observes Malena trying to enter her father's house, but realizes that he has changed the lock because of the false rumors about her. Then, Malena goes to the town lawyer, and he denies his affair with the dentist in court and proves that it was all a lie. The dentist made up the story to win the admiration of men by saying that he had slept with Malena. They win the case, and at night, Renato sees how Malena gives the money to the lawyer for helping her and also asks him to wait until she gets what is missing. However, the lawyer tells her that he does not want the money, but that he wants a night with her in exchange. Malena asks him to leave and not to hurt her, but the insistent lawyer forces her and abuses her. Renato realizes that the lawyer visits Malena more and more often and at school. He writes her a letter telling her that he has found out that she wants to marry the lawyer and asking her not to marry him because he is not a good person and he is also very ugly. Although he knows that he only does it because he could not pay her expensive fees, suddenly his teacher asks him to give the letter, and he eats it and leaves the classroom. It is that same day, later, Renato goes to spy on Malena and sees how she has a conversation with the lawyer. She is sad and tells him that she does not want to commit to him. Malena leaves from there and begins to walk down the street. But as usual, everyone curses her for her bad reputation created from false accusations. Then, Malena approaches with a man delivering a bag of food, but Malena tells her that she does not have money yet. But the man tells her that she can pay him with something else. And then the air attack begins, and everyone flees to safe areas. When the attack has ended, they clean up the rubble. But among them, they find Malena's father dead. During his wake, everyone approaches Malena and expresses their false condolences for her father. A few days later, Renato observes her as always and realizes that Malena shows her sadness when she begins to cut her hair. Then, she undresses and washes her body. At that moment, the cook comes to collect the payment for her food and begins to touch her, and she desperately tells him that it will be like this as long as he continues to bring her food. The next day, everyone is alarmed to see Malena with her new hairstyle and color. This causes the men to be more stalker than ever. 2 days have passed. Nazi Germany occupies their town, and Renato hears everyone say that Malena sleeps with a German for prestige and money. Renato faints and is taken to an exorcism because his mother believes that the demon of lust has gotten into him. His father explains to him that he is not sick, he is just becoming a man, and his hormones are very altered. His father believes he knows the situation and takes Renato to a brothel where a woman introduces him to girls and asks him to choose one. But Renato sees a girl who looks like Malena and chooses her. She takes him and takes him to a room. His wife is preparing him, and when they are about to do it, Renato imagines Malena. The United States defeats Germany and celebrates the liberation of Italy, but the dentist's wife demands that Malena receive what she deserves for being a traitor to her country for sleeping with Germans. Malena is beaten by all the women and humiliated in front of everyone. After the beating, they cut off her hair, and Malena flees from there. Later, we see Malena, but veiled and avoiding people. She gets on a train to leave the town, while Renato, depressed, sees her leave. Sometime later, the man that everyone believed dead arrives at the town. When he arrives at Malena's house, he claims that he is in his house, but the people tell him that they are refugees and that it was empty. When he arrives, he goes to the offices, and this man explains to them that he lost his hand, that he was in jail, and was also very sick, but that he did not die. And now, he does not know where his wife, Malena, is. The officer explains that his wife was beaten in the esplanade for infidelity and that he does not know where she is since she disappeared from the town. While he thinks about Malena, a letter from Renato appears on his bed. When he reads it, Renato explains to him that he does not have the courage to tell him face to face, but that he knows what really happened to his wife and that it is not as they say. He writes to him that simply, she was very vulnerable when he was dead. He also tells him the destination of the train in which Malena was riding, and then the man goes to look for her. A year later, while Renato walks with his family and his new girlfriend, they notice Malena's return along with her husband. Everyone sees them and talks about them. When Malena goes to the market, she notices that they treat her differently. She seems to be a kind and gentle sea. Renato follows her again and realizes that she has fallen. He goes to help her. She thanks him, and he wishes her good luck. Renato tries to understand that they cannot be together and that she hopes that he will forget her over the years. although he knows that this will not be possible because the only woman that he loved and that he will never be able to forget will be Malena. And that is how this story ends. Subscribe to see more videos like this. Leave a like to help the channel and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.